Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes.
Cool.
And the margaritas.
All right. Class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
It's peaks and valleys. It can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when you do know about
house call, Trevon Diggs pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory. Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned into Pick Six Sports Live with the crew on this Wednesday, Victory Wednesday, since we've seen y'all last year in this angle, if you will. And of course, we got Mary Ella in the building.
Yeah.
We have Spoonie, whom I'm interested to see where Spoonie's sermon goes tonight after last week. He kind of set the bar. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. Spoonie. And of course, as we were doing the pre-show space, you were hitting me. The Timbs are out. The hoodies out. It's getting a little cool over there in New York. We're not here yet in the Piney Woods out here in East Texas. It's a little defrost in the morning and then air conditioning by noon. But you inspired me. I made sure I went ahead, brought the old hoodie out, and get ready. How you doing, brother?
Can't complain. Weather's changed. I'm recuperating over here. I'm just glad to be back here for another show and just talk some more Cowboy football. We have a we have a team that we have to beat this Sunday. I'll save my score for later.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. He's like, all right, here's your score. We're out. Peace. All right. Professor O, how are we doing this Wednesday, my guy?
Spoonie was going to give us a pick 6-minute episode. Just predictions, player of the week. Peace. No, I'm doing good, man. It's been a really good day. Got a new fish shipment in today, which I'm excited about. Real good week of work.
I never knew this fish existed. And look, and this is a guy who did a lot of fishing out there in the ocean and what. Yes. I'm not really a freshwater guy, but I have never ever heard of this fish. Bless the people in case they don't know about this said fish that you're adding. Oh, I guess also jumping the gun for those that don't know, he doesn't have a garage. He has a. What do we? I mean,
it's a pool pond. It's a pool pond. Yeah.
No, aquarium. No. This is like when you go to an aquarium and pay to go see like sharks and stuff. That's what he has in his garage. But go ahead and tell him about this fish, man.
Yeah. So first off, just so you have context to the size of it, it's 700 gallons. So it's 10 feet long, 8 feet wide, clear viewing panel. It's massive. It's literally a swimming pool that you could swim around in. And I have sharks, stingrays, groupers, triggerfish, stuff like that. But today I got a bumblebee grouper. You can Google it, easy to find. They're freshwater or saltwater, but they get massive in the ocean. They're also known as a giant grouper. quite literally, because they can get 8 feet long and 800 pounds. It's going to be massive, and it's fun. So right now, day one, it's letting me hand feed it shrimp. I'm just putting the table shrimp in, and it's just engulfing it. So it's going to be a cool fish. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes for you. For me personally, got up early this morning, chilling. I was like, 7, I got to get ready. We got a sidewalk sale happening this weekend. So I was like, let me hit the gym before I go to work and get some stuff situated at the job. Go have a great workout. Great workout. Come home feeling good, getting dressed, ready to go. And then I have my foot planted this way. I pivot to turn the light. And this is old man problems, ladies and gentlemen. It just don't work the same when you was younger. And all somebody goes, clink, clink. I was like, oh. I said, why? So I'm dealing on this Wednesday. I'm dealing with a dodgy knee. I have a dodgy knee right now. But
speaking of injuries,
yeah. Well,
mine is because I'm clumsy.
Okay,
what happened to you? So we have two of the 4 members are on the injury report this week.
What did you do?
One of those is doubtful, and the other we're not sure
I
yet.
have 2 stitches in my forehead because I tripped over absolutely nothing and hit my head on my glass table.
Oh my God.
So that's why I'm wearing this hat, because it's not, it's small, but it's still noticeable. So,
She's like, yeah, I'm hot down on that. But to start
Stitches come out Saturday, so I'll be ready to go on Sunday.
Good. So Mary's she's good to go. So if you have her in your fantasy lineup, just go ahead and put her out there. This is a great quote, by the way. Shout out to Marcus.
I want to throw that back up again. Yeah. Marcus in the bill says, by sticking together, tiny ants carry the elephant. Let's not lose focus, Cowboys Nation. We all we got. In my best G Money voice. Salute to the panel, man. Appreciate you, my guy, for sure. I want to make sure I set the tempo for this show, if that makes sense to y'all. I want to set the tempo for this show. And, obviously, week 1, we know what happened. All right. Week 2, okay, here's the challenge. You don't have Dak, defending AFC Super Bowl representative in the Bengals. Then, okay, Giants, Washington, okay. But not this week. Not this week. Because this week, we're going to California, right? And in California resides the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions with the opportunity to go in there and get a dub. But more importantly than that, it's beef. It's beef. And I do mean beef on every level, because simply they try to pass off this overrated burger chain that just sells dadgum Big Macs and think it's great, and they can't.
It's like Thousand Island sauce and
and they can't cook their fries. Yeah. So I made sure to come ready. I'm in the camo to go to Cali, and I got the Whataburger cup ready. It's beef on every angle with the Rams and with In-N-Out. So I'm setting the tone out the gate as we do the show tonight, y'all.
You got to.
That Sprite's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. But as we'll get into some of that and get into it, all thumbs down for In-N-Out. If you like In-N-Out, I'm sorry. I don't mean to attack you, but all thumbs down on In-N-Out. I ain't trying to, I ain't feeling it. Anywho, but let's go ahead and start off the top here. Let's get into and let's put a bow on this Washington Commanders game. The Cowboys come out of this thing winning their 3rd straight, now 2-0 in the division. Me and Spoon kind of talked about this on the space some. I'm going to give O and Mary a chance to shoot at this too. Oh, what was the one thing that you liked from the game, and what is the one thing you're like, eh?
Good question. So I liked seeing CeeDee Lamb, obviously. It was exciting to have the CeeDee Lamb drive. I would have liked to see more CeeDee Lamb drives or more usage of CeeDee Lamb, but it's nice to see him get an opportunity to literally take over a drive where we're featuring him, we're getting him the football, and he's able to have his impact on the game. And then his routes were just crisp. I shared it in our group chat. I think I may have put it on Twitter today. I'm not sure. And if I didn't, I'll put it on after the show. But there's this really great Instagram channel called First Down Training. And he put a side-by-side of Amari Cooper running the exact same route that CeeDee Lamb scored on the Commanders, but he did it against the Giants last year. And you see the nuance of the route running, the way that he's able to sell with his breaks, the head fakes, and everything like that that goes into making an easy throwing lane. it was fire. So it was really great to see that. So CeeDee Lamb was the thing I was most excited about. I should say Michael Gallup, but his impact was felt. Obviously, it's great to have him back, but me personally, I wanted to see CeeDee Lamb continue off of last week and, stack good days on top of good days to borrow one from Jason Garrett. But that was what I was excited about. What I didn't like about the game, early run defense was an issue. Late game run defense, second half, they made a big concerted effort there and basically shut down the running game in the second half. So if I had to go with anything, Cooper Rush was not the Cooper Rush we saw the previous games on a number of levels. First off, he was averaging 2.3 seconds as his time to throw heading into this game and was at 2.98. So he was holding the ball a little bit longer this week than previous weeks. And then he's also pretty fortunate. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions, both in our own territory, both called back from penalties. One, I'm not convinced he knew was a penalty. I think he just kind of chucked it in the middle of the field. One, he may or may not have seen the penalty, but we got kind of fortunate because Washington continuously shot themselves in the foot with penalties. And every time they had an opportunity to get momentum, we would either get a sack to push them back behind the sticks, or they'd have a penalty to put themselves back behind the sticks. And I kind of walked away from that game feeling like, I don't want to say we stole it, but it wasn't our best effort. So we got the W, and that's the most important thing.
Well, Mary, Professor O kind of let Mary cook there a little bit with his one thing on each side of the ball, but neither here nor there. Whatever's left on this plate here for you, Mary, was the thing that you liked the most from the game, the thing that you're from the game.
Yeah, I loved seeing Deron Bland get some time and doing well in the time he had. Rookie from the 2022 draft. He ended up with an interception. He had a good game. That was great to see. You just never know. You might like a guy, but you just never know what's going to happen when they get out there and get some real legitimate playing time. And then also what I was Professor O already mentioned it, was the run defense. And I know you're not going to always be great, most of the time great at everything on a defense. But it's kind of just concerning because it's been an issue for ongoing years, and always bites us in the butt, when playoffs come. So I want to see some real legitimate improvement as the season goes on.
Okay. Another key thing there as you're bringing up Deron Bland, he basically didn't know he was going to be the nickel corner until about 10 to 15 minutes before kickoff.
Exactly.
And to walk through that door, to your point, right, a 5th round pick from the 22 draft means he has supplanted 2 cornerbacks drafted in the year before draft in the 2nd round and the 3rd round with Nashon Wright in the 3rd round and Kelvin Joseph. So yeah, that's huge. And he played well. 2 back-to-back there in the late in the game, the 4th quarter, 2 really big, huge back-to-back plays.
And he had like 3 tackles and then the reception was, very good.
Yeah, it was really good to see him carry over what we saw from preseason from him. We watched him carry it over in his first, true to life nickel action there. So yeah, that's definitely a good one. Spoonie, go right ahead, man. The one thing that you love, the one thing you're like,
Well, the one thing I didn't like was basically when Cooper the penalty that bailed out the interceptions. I mean, as a fan, I loved it, but at the same time, I didn't like we can't have things like that because we're not gonna be always fortunate that a penalty go in our favor to bring us back. What I did love was Cooper Rush watching Pick Six Sports. And listen to Miss Mary when Miss Mary said, "Don't tuck it, let it hang." I mean, don't tuck it, let it hang. And which he did to CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup for their touchdowns. You can see the trust factor has grown between the staff and Cooper Rush. Basically letting him throw that ball down the field. We're gonna need that. We don't know how. We know that Dak is gonna be out. It was 4 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever. But the time frame is until Dak's fully healthy. We don't know what that's gonna be. So we're gonna need Cooper Rush really to, Kellen Moore to have Cooper Rush open up just a little bit more. There's gonna be games where he can't manage. There's gonna be games where a team may be up by a score. He's gonna have to. Don't tuck it, let it hang. I said it right, Miss Mary? I said it right?
Yeah, don't tuck it, let it hang. You got it.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm good. So, that's it right there.
Yeah, I think I didn't per se care for the scheming of the run game from Kellen Moore. I get it
Good
that,
one.
I feel like I understand different teams present different matchup issues, but I think we kind of talked about it a lot last Wednesday and Freestyle Friday with some of the Commander fans in here. We understood what they were having deep at the tackle. So a lot of the pulling and stuff that we saw and some of the counter trade stuff, we just didn't see that action. And more importantly, in the first half, we just didn't see Tony Pollard that much. Right. Now they did try to do some things in the second half with him, right? The pitch to the right for -7 yards. They try to get a little stretch and get him on the edge to the left, -2 yards. But on the back end of it though, they did stick with it in a game where it had been very easy with Michael Gallup coming back, the 3 wide receiver sets. Kellen Moore could have been like, well, this isn't working, so I'm out. But he stuck with it. And the payoff was the 4 big opportunities on the play action deep shots where he hits Noah Brown for 1. He gets 2 big chunk yardage penalties against Michael Gallup, and then the 1 breakup on CeeDee Lamb. So it developed it in that realm.
And it's funny because he actually said in his press conference that like everything in him wanted to just give up on the run and throw the ball.
Shout out to Mike McCarthy, as I keep saying. A man's made a change in this offense, and that's fantastic. So I definitely wasn't a fan of the schematics, if you will, when it comes to this run game and getting Pollard involved. On the opposite side of that, the thing that I loved that I was most happy about, I am going to go with Michael Gallup. I'm like, just because, I thought it was going to be a snap count thing with him, 20 to 25 plays. He ends up playing, I think it was 39 snaps. They came out and talked about he was actually on a snap count. Then it was the exact numbers that we talked about. I was like, we were really plugged in and really nailing it on the 20 to 25. But he felt good. He did well. Obviously, the big touchdown catch there at the end of the first half that kind of separated things out and helped us out some. And, man, just down the field, I think that's like the important thing for him is how healthy he looked. Unlike a Dalton Schultz who looked a little I don't want to say gimpy. He looked a little tentative on the end, maybe not trusting it. But Gallup hit the floor and looked like he was ready to rock. Yeah. And that's exciting moving forward for this team and what they got to do. So that'll be my 2 on that front as far as what I liked and what I didn't like. And, of course, ultimately we're all going to say we got the dub. So, by hook or by crook, we got the dub. Dub like Waterburger.
I do want to say, too, with Dalton Schultz, it was weird. If you watch, I don't know what it is. Cooper Rush seems like he just doesn't like throwing the ball to tight ends. If you notice that, it's been 3 consecutive weeks. We had a little bit of Hendershot action, but he just hasn't really targeted his tight ends at all. He prefers to, throw the ball to outside receivers, which is cool. A lot of us like that, and that's what we've been asking for more of. But the first interception he threw that he just threw downfield, Dalton Schultz is wide open in the middle of the field. Like, it's an easy 10 to 15-yard gain. I don't know if he just didn't see him or close his eyes and threw it. I don't know how you missed that one. And there were 2 or 3 times, if you watch the film back, where you're like, Schultz is wide open. That should have been an easy read. Dak probably hits that one. So there's some meat left on the bone there. Maybe we'll see more of it with Schultz being healthier. Obviously, Ferguson's now a little bit banged up, which we'll talk about later. But you have Hendershot, and it would be nice to see that. Actually, I want to change. Now that I'm talking, let me just dial back on my thing I don't like. I'm just gonna do
Let
it.
O cook.
Let O cook.
Let O cook.
I am so sick of this Hulk package. I absolutely hate seeing a guard at fullback. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Multiple reasons. First of all, the guards are not athletic enough to get to the second level to block these linebackers. So what they're doing more often than not, they're clogging up the exact same hole that they're supposed to be opening up because they can't get there in time and get kind of caught in traffic, which is actually impacting a run game negatively. You have guys like Ferguson, who's a really good blocking tight end, also a much better receiving option. I don't ever want to see Farniok run a route, which he did in the game, which is the exact same thing that we killed Kellen Moore about for the San Francisco 49ers playoff game last year. I don't want to see that. You have better options in terms of being able to get to the next level and being able to be a legitimate receiving threat. So when you do those play actions or when you have him block for a second and release, you have a viable option you could throw to. You have Ferguson and Hendershot. Use them. I know that he loved having Connor McGovern there last year, and he just couldn't wait to do that again this year. Stop doing that. There's a reason that other teams only do that in the red zone or short yardage. Stop doing that package. That's my thing I don't like.
Okay. Well, on the other side,
Sorry.
they did use it for the play action deep shot that worked. But I understand.
Yes.
I understand. They dressed it up. But and again, this is kind of what we were talking about when it comes to we understood what they had at defensive tackle, and this was Kellen Moore's idea of the best way to attack this defensive line, and their defensive tackles was with that. And it just wasn't. I mean, man, it's just not good. So I imagine the old Hulk / Hippo / whatever the F they want to call it. I'm willing to bet we're going to see some more. But as this kind of takes us back. This takes us back to 2 years or a year and a half ago, where we're like, just use a damn fullback.
Yes.
Just use a fullback. Mike McCarthy has always had a fullback before he came to Dallas. Let's just use a fullback. A crazy thought process there.
We all off season. We're gonna use both running backs at the same time. We're gonna get both of them out there. Maybe put both of them out there instead of having a fullback who's actually a guard. Like, it's just crazy. I know we won. I'm gonna move past that, but I was upset about that.
I get it. But again, these are the little things here. But it's important though, because these are the little things here where maybe you're playing a team that you are a little bit more talented than, or they're still trying to find their way. It's fine. But the one thing that we always talk about here is the things that cause you issues in the regular season expound in the postseason.
Exactly.
And if you don't take care of the right, exactly, Mary. If we don't look at those things and fix those things now, they're going to get exposed. So we'll put a pin in that, and we'll monitor how many of these whole packages we're going to see moving forward. And we'll give a section to go cook on this package. But not doom and gloom. Now, Mary, we questioned, was it a win streak with 2? It's officially 3. It's a win streak.
Yes, facts.
Yes.
So.
And 2 in the division. That's always good.
2-0 in the division, very much so. Keeping pace here with the now undefeated Eagles at 4-0 and staying a half a game ahead, per se, of the Giants, who are now 3-1. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, don't let nobody talk to you about the NFC least. Cut it out. Number one division in football, winning percentage, and the whole 9. So at this point where we are, this isn't the least, and we're 2-0 in the best division of football currently. Those are just the facts. I can't help it any other way. One other thing I want to bring up about this game, this kind of ties into the other 2 games. Mike McCarthy has had his finger on the pulse from a game management standpoint. I saw people in real time really get upset and lose their mind because 4th and 3, they didn't go for it. Right, there's another 4th opportunity. They were down there in the scoring zone. They didn't go for it. They went ahead, took the 3 points, and I was like, yeah, but Bengals went for it in their own territory, even right, went for it against Giants on the CD Lamb redemption drive that I was talking about a little bit earlier. 4th and 4, they hit Lamb. They went for it. So right now, he's hitting the right notes in the game management side of understanding when to go for it and understanding when not to. So one of the things that Mike McCarthy's been criticized over his first 2 years going into year 3 this season is game management and certain things that have happened. But so far, specifically the last 3 games, he's been A1 in it and has rode the defense and kind of had the temperature of the team and doing it the right way. So I do think that goes a long way too at protecting certain things. And maybe if Cooper Rush was playing in a little bit cleaner mode, maybe they would have went for it. But for where the game was at that point, you'd only given up 1 touchdown. You kick the field goal, you're making not just a 2-possession game, but you got to have a 2-point conversion the way the defense is playing. I completely get it. I didn't have a problem with it in real time.
Yeah.
I definitely have a problem with it afterwards. But I know Cowboyzation and Joe's like, we didn't go for it. It's like, hey, and I know you're like, I want to go for it every damn time. I don't care.
I'm like, let me look at my checklist. We have the football in our hands.
Yeah,
go for it. That's my whole checklist. Not the special teams, doesn't matter. There obviously would be a circumstance like if I'm down by 1 or 2 points with 1 second left. Yeah, let's kick the field goal. Aside from that, I'm probably going to go. No, realistically, if I'm past the 45-yard line, I'm probably going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
usually in that realm, but I agree with what you were saying. When I was watching the game, I was like, okay, I see that why. I see why.
Yeah, I mean, it just, it's good to be in that groove, and you're cleaning up something that's been an issue. Maybe not quite the whole package getting cleaned up yet, but we're cleaning up certain things. We're picking and choosing some things that are getting cleaned up currently. So it's fantastic to see it in that realm. Hey man, we got to give the flowers where we give the flowers, and right now he's in the bag, if you will. I think overall, Money Maher just kind of put the little bow on this game here. The extra point got blocked, not really his fault, but hey, he outscored Washington 12-10.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, money.
Who would have thought when it was even rumored that he was coming to try out?
Yeah, I mean, we were
Cowboys
all
Nation
like,
was
what?
like about to lose it, just about to lose their mind. Like, there's got to be a better kicker out there. Now we're all lovingly like, oh, it's Money Maher, go Brett. Like, salute to him.
Hey, yeah, he went from maybe Brett Maher to Brett Money Maher. And, something we were talking about in the space beforehand there, Spoonie, simply the fact that it took basically 4 short weeks into the season where, we're kicking a field goal? Sweet. Sit back. It's fine. Unlike what we went through the roller coaster ride last year with Greg the Leg Zerline.
Yeah, it's definitely a contrast, definitely.
Spoonie, Tuck said he's getting a little bit worried now about that Fowler bet he made with you.
Yeah. No wings is gone.
Although, Tuck, don't worry because my bet with you is not looking so hot right now. Offense in terms of top 10. So we'll see. Maybe we can rally as Dak comes back. But yeah, so you may win one and lose one there.
Yeah, and the thing about getting into that in with this field goal team and leaning on them. When you have a team that's going to be heavy on the defense and they're really, ramping up the run, the 3 points change. Like different teams, it changes. And when you're going to lean on this defense that's not giving up 20 points, and your offense is going to go through some certain things here with the backup quarterback, and in the Washington game, you wasn't able to run the ball effectively. Here's the thing. Those 3 points become much bigger now at every single kick. So at this point, the Maher field goals are a little bit more meaningful in the way that these games have been played the last 3 weeks than maybe in different stretches, or if the offense is out here Team 40 burger and everything else. Yeah, I was going to say, Tuck, at this point with the bets and how I think I'm clean still. I think I'm clean on mine.
I want
to give people a word of warning. Do not bet against Knicks. Knicks was in a Twitter space this week. There was like 15 people. I don't know if he bet the entire fan base, but there was like 15 people that not only took his image as the profile picture, they also changed the name to like your guy, whatever their name was, your guy Rax, your guy Ben, or whatever it is. So don't bet Knicks.
You know what it remind me of? You really remind me of. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, you're not gonna understand. If you're not a wrestling fan, you don't watch it, you won't understand it. But if you do understand the name, don't BJ Nick remind you of Bray Wyatt a little bit? Okay, I'll put up a picture for everybody can see it. The people who betted him, who lost the bets, it was like the fireflies. Yeah. He find you. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you a picture of Bray Wyatt right here, and you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. From last year to this year, currently I am 13-1.
This is
the
Bray
Anthony
Wyatt.
Brown one got me. Yeah, let's get it, my boy Bray. Let's go.
You see that?
Nick's buddy Josh is like, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were in a Madden franchise and stuff, and I would sit there and play Bray Wyatt's music, and be talking his walk-in music and stuff. It's pretty funny. As interest music, I should say. And also, too, shout out to my guys over there, the UK Cowboys, went over there, set the record. So they do a high or low fantasy outlook on the team. And I think I swung out there 82 or 84%, set the record this week. I went 9 of 11 on the fantasy outlook. So I'm in, and the Cowboys won. So right now, I'm feeling pretty swaggy. I'm feeling pretty good right now. And then the one monetary bet was shout out to my guy Cash from Washington, and he was like, he wanted to bet blah 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 40 is, but either team wins by 10, right? Then it's double. The field goal to me matters even more because it put us about 15.
Yeah.
So and of course they got the hold on the touchdown before, and at that point I was happy because then the kick the field goal could have maybe messed up my money. But no, so yeah, man, it was a good week for me. And like I tell everybody, hey, it's cool. Y'all see the intro. You're never as good as you are, as bad as you think you are. Look, the NFL season has a way of humbling you. Right now, riding high. Some good bets are happening. I'm hitting on some things right now. I think I'm 9-1 in fantasy or whatever. Now, those undefeated in fantasy, I do believe currently.
Yeah,
I think five leagues
haven't lost yet. And I've had multiple players injured, and I'm just crushing it. Real quick,
Yeah.
though, before we move on from Knicks being the hot hand, chat, grab a pen, get your cell phone out, be ready to go. Knicks, just give us 5 random numbers from 1 to 69, and then a 6th number if you don't mind, please.
55, 40. I don't know. I don't know. Let me go 4, 21, 11, 88.
8. Okay, 8 is one.
I said 8. Yeah, 8. And then I'll figure another 8 out over there or something. I want 88 in there. But neither here nor there, man. The Cowboys were able to wrap it up, finish. Division games are hard. They got it in there. They got it done. 3-1. And now we are on the path to SoFi. But before we get there, let's go ahead and get over here. We do have some news and notes, some injury updates, some different things that are happening with this roster and what's going on. Y'all know me. Hashtag special teams matter. We lost a long snapper.
Yeah.
What has he got? Torn triceps. McQuaid with the torn triceps.
Yeah.
Probably out for the season. I immediately was like, "Hey LP, what you doing? What's going on,
I
LP?"
think all of us probably were like,
Yeah. So Jay McQuaid obviously is good to go for the IR now. Unfortunately, with the torn triceps, hate it. Obviously, you can see here as well. So the practice squad, a couple of long snappers. We'll see how that pans out. But a key issue, because we were going back to when we were playing the Giants, and how many did they work out that week? 3, 4 long snappers.
Yeah, 6 linebackers, 3 long snappers.
Right. So we were kind of maybe cherry picking. Maybe something going with the long snapper. Well, guess what? Ain't no cherry picking here in Dallas. We no longer have our long snapper, so we'll have to wait and see what's going on there. Now, obviously, y'all see the name at the bottom. That's going to be juicy. That's going to get people excited. The 5th round pick here in Damon Clark from LSU at linebacker, who more than likely would have been, to me, no worse than a mid-round 2nd round pick. Or, excuse me, middle of the round of the 2nd, I should say. Starts practice, which means now, and the way that works is they have a 21-day window moving forward here to assess the roster and what they're going to do and officially activate him. I scoffed, whenever we drafted him, because as soon as you drafted him, I'm like, man, I love the pick, red shirt, but you're not doing it in the 2nd round. It's the 5th round. You got 4 5th round picks. It's cool. And then like 20, 30 minutes later, Stephen Jones said, oh, no, he'll be back by week 9. And I was like, is he? I'm like, are you selling me some smoke here a little bit? Are you selling me a little bit of smoke, getting this jazz up about the pick? Well, if we kind of do the math, right, we've played 4 games. 21 days is basically 3 weeks. That's 7 weeks. So, I mean, even a little ahead of the schedule that Stephen Jones talked about, Professor O. So, Damon Clark, what do you make of the situation looking at it right now with him starting the run here and opening up the 21-day schedule of the practicing?
So, first, it was great to see him out there today. Number 33. Looked good on him. Great to see him there. I don't have high expectations for him this year. And the reason being is we have Jabril Cox, which was the guy that we were all looking forward to seeing this year. And he can't even get on the field because the way that our linebackers are playing. And now it's going to get the snap share is going to get even lighter because we have Jaron Kearse coming back. We're going to see a lot of 3 safety personnel packages, whether that's big nickel or big dime. I just don't know where the snaps come from on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe late in the season, if they activate him after the 21-day window, we may see him on special teams. But again, we've seen Luke Gifford inactive. We've seen Devin Harper inactive. We've seen Jabril Cox inactive. So it's just hard to envision him actually playing this year. But it's nice to know that he's way ahead of schedule and could potentially play. So I'll look at that as a silver lining. But I really just think it's a redshirt year. I would imagine that he's probably going to get put on the IR. I don't think they're going to actually activate him. But we'll see. Maybe an injury pops up or something like that, and they have to. But again, knowing that we have Harper, knowing we have Jabril Cox, and those guys can't get on the field, I just don't really see the value of having another linebacker that's just a special teams player this year, at least.
Right. But here's the thing, Spoonie, to me, that I think people are going to look at. What's a good week for the linebackers, right? LV easily probably played the worst half of his football there in the first half. Right. And Barr, who was really ramping up the last 2 weeks, kind of fell off. So it's interesting the timing, Spoonie, that the linebackers maybe not their greatest week, and then magically he's being active. So Well, I mean, Spoonie, you think something to it in that realm, or is it just, hey, he's ready, we're going to run through it, and then we'll see what happens?
I'm kind of split. I didn't think about what Professor O just said, and that's a very good point. If the other guys hasn't got on, what makes it feel good for he's going to get on? That's one point. But then Mike McCarthy, for what he said in his press conference today too, he was very excited. He goes, "We all excited. The man could go out there and just do what he need to do." So it's definitely gonna be something where I really don't have a clear-cut answer. Is if he's gonna play or not. Professor just put something right in my mouth, like, damn it, he called that one, which is it's a fact. The other guys like Harper, Jabril Cox has not even come on yet. So how are we gonna see Clark just come in? But I will play something for everybody on what Brian Broadus feels about Damon Clark on this defense right now.
But I'm proud to read this report because I had him in the second round, and toughness and physicality are a big part of his game. He's a load to deal with as a blocker. See ball, hit ball type of player. He takes blocks well. He's able to get off them quickly. He makes things happen. I think the best thing is when he can play downhill, he's disruptive. He attacks gaps. He attacks holes. He'll finish with a pop. He's a wrap-up tackle. There's some violence to his game.
So, when you hear things like that, especially from Brian Broder, who's a big LSU fan, but just hearing what Damon Clark can add to this defense that we already have, for what we already see already, who's not going to feel so excited to just put him on? So.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. But I would say, though, here's the thing, depending on what it looks like over the next 3 weeks here, I don't think Luke Gifford's safe, Mary.
No. Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, I think it's going to definitely be a wait and see approach. I mean, those other guys can't get on the field because maybe there's something they're not doing in practice. So, definitely, if we're still struggling in the run game, or, if Dante Fowler struggles more or LVE struggles more, I don't see a reason why, if he's healthy and he's showing it in practice that he's doing what we need him to do, I definitely think it's a possibility. I think it's just a wait and see what happens type of approach.
Yeah, like I said, it'll get the nation talking, right? The levity of what he's going to mean to this roster, what's going on. I won't far be it for me to put a cap on anything. If he walks through the door and it's like, hey, LV, it's my job now, or whatever the case may be, so be it. But the way I look at it simply is, can you go take Gifford or Harper's spot? And if he can contribute anyway, then that's where it is. I think the big keynote here, period, is from having the fusion surgery to be this far ahead of schedule to be where he's at is nothing short of amazing. Once again, a big kudos to the medical staff for the Cowboys. I mean, you look at Gallup, right? Surgery in February, back game 4. We talked about that extensively throughout this offseason.
None of us, pretty much we were consistent on not believing. So
right. And not only did he play, he said, get the snap count out of here. I'm good. I'm back. Yeah. And we've just kind of seen it with them, over the past couple of years and how they've handled things. So this is just another big check mark for them and how they've handled stuff. I know some of the reading about it and whatnot, basically it boils down to it's just how quickly once they do it, it's how quickly the bone heals and then they're able to go. There's not a whole lot of extracurricular things here, but they got it done it the right way. He's healed up and now here he is making it happen. So super excited and where that's moving forward. We kind of understand it was still somewhat for the next year, but now that he's here, it gives us some good depth. And Luke Gifford is definitely, in my opinion, the guy that might be on notice if they end up activating a shot. Yeah, make sure y'all go see Black Panther too. For real. So other injuries, obviously Quentin Bohanna.
I think he was limited today, right? And Jordan Lewis was out, so he'll probably miss this week. And I didn't even I literally did not even realize before the game that he had gotten injured until I saw Bland playing, and I was like, wait, what? Right.
Interesting that, obviously Dalton Schultz was full. Donovan Wilson, by the way, ankle was limited, but you are getting Jaron Kearse back this week. So that helps you a little bit because Kearse was full at practice today as well.
And when they brought it up about Wilson, they basically said it's kind of load management. So I don't think it's a risk that he won't play. He might be a little more limited, but I don't think he's gonna be out completely.
There's really one that stands out to me, and that's Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
him being the DNP is kind of an interesting one.
Right. You want to expound on it?
Yeah, so he has a knee injury. It happened during the game. I don't really know the extent of it. They haven't really reported too much. Not sure if it's swelling, a sprain, or exactly what it is. But, this is a guy that is our tight end too. We planned on using him a lot throughout the course of the season, and that still may be the case. But him being out is an interesting injury. He didn't really play a lot last week. He was in some 12 personnel packages and a couple times as the actual tight end, but we didn't really see him play the same snap share that he played the week before. But again, he's a piece of the puzzle, so not having him today is kind of a head scratcher. We'll see as the week goes on. If he's not practicing Thursday and Friday, he's probably not going to play. But we'll have a little bit more opportunity to see how that goes. But he was the one that kind of surprised me because the rest of the list is pretty much what you expected, except for Donovan, like Mary mentioned, and that was preventative maintenance is what they said.
Right. Seeing Noah Brown as well, because I was worried when he was coming off the field late in the game. If y'all saw it, he had the arm tucked, it was on a run play. So I was like, oh, is that a stinger? Is that what we got here? But he was full practice today. So that's a nice shot of good news here for the wide receiver core with Gallup just coming back. It would hate to get Gallup back, and then you lose Noah Brown, and you're
exactly.
the spin cycle again. Like, oh my God. So overall, getting there, articulated the right way. We'll have to wait and see what's going on with Ferguson, and I think it's really big about Quentin, but we'll kind of talk about that and how this Rams team and Cowboys team is going to match up, and we'll kind of save a little bit of that on Bo on the other end. Any other news and notes? I think that's right. Let me look. Anything else, guys? I think that covers it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got there. All right, we knocked it out.
The only thing worth mentioning NFL-wise is former Cowboy Cole Beasley hung it up. Said that he wants to spend time with the family. Not sure if that's Tom Brady related or Bucks related or just a coincidence.
That was the timing.
That was a shocker.
The timing was
interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, right?
Yeah.
It was very interesting that all the stuff's kind of spiraling here with Brady and Giselle and what's going on. He's like, you know what? Let me not do that. Let me go this way.
Yeah.
And bar none, my favorite tweet, I forgot who did it. They said Tom Brady looking at Beasley talk about the divorce stuff, and he posted the Kobe Bryant with the soft. I was like, yo, y'all are out of pocket. Y'all are out of pocket. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, here's the thing about it. He might have got down there, got into the game. Obviously, played last week, and maybe the body just didn't react the right way, So for whatever it is, but it was hard for me. And when I saw it, I was like, then you see the 11-year career, and I'm like, man. I always say the days are short, but the years are long. I'm sorry, excuse me, the days are long, but the years are short, I should say.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it just seemed like yesterday that Cole just got into this league, and like it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
So salute to Cole, the sauce, and hopefully everything that he wants to accomplish now, moving away from the game, it goes great for him and health and everything else. So salute to Cole Beasley on a fantastic career. And look, has some big moments for the Cowboys. Where we talk about the Giants game there at the end. We thought he was out of bounds, but he actually got in. And
the catch behind the back.
The one hand pin right here for sure.
Especially a career he tried to walk away from his rookie year in training camp.
True.
He decided he didn't want to play football. Yeah. They had to go back and fly out and bring him back. So
No, you're good. You're good. Come back. You're good. So,
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this real quick. If for any fantasy football owners out there, if you're in the league where there's two quarterbacks and a two quarterback league, pick up Blaine Gabbert because Tom Brady did not practice today, nursing a shoulder injury and a elbow injury. Something's working. Something's in the works.
Yeah, well,
Brady's a vampire. Don't pick up Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah,
Brady.
Here's the other thing. If you happen to be in a league now, and it might be over now, you might not have the opportunity. Like I did this previous week. On top of my hot streak, by the way, I was like, man, I ain't playing Jimmy G. I went and looked, like, oh, Geno Smith, cut Jimmy G, picked up Geno, started in huge numbers for me. So, again, if Geno Smith's laying around, you might want to get him. And, and of course, for Cole Beasley, the 80 stings, the rapper extraordinaire. So yeah, that's a little fantasy advice. I don't know. O says no. Spoonie says go. I'm just telling you, go get Gino.
You should go pick up Brian Robinson for the Washington Commanders, though.
That's
He's going to be back soon. He would have been their
Yeah.
starting running back week 1 had he not had the mugging shooting incident.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was able to bounce back quickly from that.
Yeah.
Pick him up. If he's in your league, which he is available in most leagues still, go sign him right now.
That part. Let's get into some quarter of the season awards here. So, and we're just doing it for the Cowboys. We're not doing it league wide here. We're just going to talk about this Cowboys roster and what's going on here ahead of our Rams breakdown. And we're going to start. Look, we'll start with MVP. Does anybody have anybody other than Micah Parsons? Does everybody got Micah Parsons as MVP for the Cowboys thus far?
No.
No, I got Micah Parsons. So y'all go ahead.
Yeah,
Well, I
Michael
mean,
Parsons.
he's helped the whole defense get sacks.
Everybody, Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
Micah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Micah Parsons MVP this far for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Offensive player. We might have some middling answers here. So, Mary, who's your offensive player of the year so far?
I mean, I guess you got to go with the QB, right?
If you want,
gotta go
it's
with the
your
QB.
call. Yeah, whoever you want to go with, man.
You didn't have much faith in him coming into the season and coming into week 2, and
Yeah, Knicks.
you know.
Oh, that was all of us. I'm just kidding. All of us.
I'm out here catching random slugs.
You know, he came in and he's done enough to help us win some games, and we've won 3 straight with him this season. I feel like it has to be him.
Okay. Spoonie, who's your offensive player of the year? You riding over here with Mary with Cooper Rush, or you got somebody else?
No, it's a great choice for her. It's a good choice. I'm gonna go with Noah Brown.
That's a good one.
I mean, listen, the longest tenured wide receiver. He dropped some weight. He dedicated his body to play receiver the way they wanted him to play. And with Michael Gallup out, James Washington out, he was that number 2 receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. And he played very solid until up until Gallup got the roll back. But even when Gallup came back last week, he still played a hell of a game. So Noah Brown's my guy.
Professor O, who's your offensive player
Tyler Smith
so
is a
far?
good one too.
I love both of your answers. I'm going to co-sign Gregory. I think it's Tyler Smith.
That's a good one.
Okay, yeah, good one. Good one.
I mean, just think about the left tackle position in general in football is a top 3 position of need for every single, or not even need. Top most valuable position for all teams is going to be your quarterback, your left tackle, and an edge rusher. You can argue wide receiver, running back, what defensive tackle, whatever position you want, but every team that's good has somebody at one of those 3 spots, if not all 3 of those spots. So having somebody step in that worked the entire offseason at guard, was a tackle in college, but didn't take a heavy snap load at tackle, and having to start week 1 against a tough Tampa defense, and then week 2 against Trey Hendrickson, and then week 3 against Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, he's kind of been put through the ringer. Montez Sweat this week. Like, he's had a tough hand tossed to him,
Right.
and he's done great. That's a pick I hated, but he's been great. So I'm going to go with him. I think both of your answers, Rush and Noah Brown, were phenomenal answers. I could easily agree with you guys on either of those. You could win me over, but I'm going to go with Tyler Smith.
Same.
That's a good one. Yeah.
10-4. Yeah, I put mine out there earlier this week on Twitter if you haven't seen them yet. So I'm not going to switch it up here. It was Noah Brown for me, even in week 1 against the Bucks, 5 catches, 54 yards. He was the constant as CeeDee Lamb ramped up. You look at the Giants game, he has a huge catch in the first quarter. That would have been an interception. He has to go up and elevate and get that ball. I just think Noah Brown brought some consistency to this wide receiver room that we were very worried about. And he was the constant early on as this thing's got on path and held it together for them until Gallup got back this week. And he had the huge play in the second half as well in the play action. So Noah Brown for me. Now let's pivot over to the defensive side of the ball. Who's your defensive player of the year? And I'll go reverse this time. I'll go with Professor O.
All right, so full transparency, because we already picked Micah as the team MVP, I think it's only fair we pick somebody else, right? We're all going to pick someone else.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you could go a lot of routes with this.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to go
Bringing
with
back the hashtag route something. Here it
you
comes.
could hashtag route this. I'm going to go with Mr. Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. I mean, look at what he's done this year. He is tied for first in interceptions. He has 3 more PBUs than any other defensive back in the entire league. He's not falling for these double moves and all the stuff that the media spent an entire year telling us and making this case that he's this huge liability you can throw on him. And so what if he gets an interception here and there? As if yardage is more important than interceptions. I mean, this channel, if anybody knows that, this channel knows turnovers are king. You win the takeaway battle, you win turnover differential, you're in good shape. But on top of that, he's just getting his hands on the football. Like, it's that shutdown window or shutdown label that people toss out there that you're looking for a cornerback and saying, well, if you're a real shutdown cornerback, you don't get interceptions because teams don't throw your way. When they do throw Diggs' way, they're paying for it this year. And a few times where they have completed passes, like the Giants game where the ball just narrowly went through, he's right there. He's having a phenomenal year. So I'm going to go with Trayvon Diggs.
Spoonie, your defensive player of the year so far.
My defensive player of the year so far is Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson. Safety, Mr. Wilson. Listen, Donovan Wilson has been a force so far ever since he had replaced Ron Kurtz for a couple of weeks. His tackling was on point. He had a couple of interceptions. I mean, he has been a force. He's been named the top 5 safety so far of this season in the league, and that's a great accomplishment. This man has fought for the last couple of years. We all have felt that he wouldn't make this roster because of the movement they was doing at that position. But again, he basically made the coach staff have the conversation about, hey, we can't let this guy just walk out here for nothing, and it's paying dividends. So my pick is Mr. Wilson.
All right, Mary, who's your DP of the year so far?
Yeah, so I was gonna say Diggs for obvious reasons. Like, we've all talked about, he's having a great season. He just keeps improving every year, despite the fact that he has less interceptions. He's been great. Next choice was gonna be Wilson for obvious reasons, but I'm just gonna, say someone different. I'm gonna go with Demarcus Lawrence. A lot of people have said, he's kind of been the forgotten man on defense. But, you see how he's been, coming alive, like he's bursting through. And, even if it's not a sack, he's getting a lot of pressures. And he also helps with our run defense. He's a great run defender. So I'll
Yeah. Again, I'm staying consistent with what I did earlier on Twitter about Diggs. And I think just the big thing is we saw year 1 to year 2 in the growth from him. And then now you're seeing the year 2 to year 3 growth, and you're seeing the same kind of an exponential jump as you saw from year 1 to year 2, which is amazing in a lot of different ways. And just understanding what he's getting about. Although I don't like the fact that apparently he just popped back on Twitter. So I'm not a big fan of, oh, hey, I showed y'all, now I'm bad. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. That's off the field kind of stuff. And for a different talk for a different time. And I mean, even as we're sitting right now, he's still on pace to have 8 interceptions.
Yeah, that's still an amazing year. Like
a down year of interceptions.
Down year.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that. Let's go.
So now people are going to start saying that interceptions aren't a big deal.
Yeah.
And look,
they are a big deal
they
now.
are
He
big
didn't have
deal.
enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because I love the fact where he bats the ball there on the 4th and 15, 4th and goal, I should say, in the end zone. He probably could have picked it off.
Yeah.
The way he was on it and everything, I think he batted it because he wanted to do that, and just be that kind of a little nasty to him. But he had to do some push-ups because Al Harris got on to him pretty good. But just seeing that jump, and something we talked about heavy on this channel, heavy in the spaces, was he doesn't have to have 11 sacks to become a better corner. And we highlighted all those things that he could do. And so far through 4 games, he's absolutely done that. So, I give it to Diggs as well. All right, so just like now I'm going to pivot here. Just like the MVP, is anybody else besides Tyler Smith y'all's rookie of the year thus far?
No, I mean, we can't even see Tolbert. Like, poor guy. I asked y'all earlier today. I was like, did he have any snaps? Like
he wasn't active.
I'm like, we can't see the man play. Like, apparently, it's just unfortunate. But yeah, it's definitely Tyler Smith.
Anybody, any other different? I mean, Deron Bland with a late injury here, but not enough, right?
Just
Okay.
not
Not
enough
enough.
yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
if he does
enough.
it the whole season, maybe we reassess. But right now, it's Tyler.
Definitely. So that gives us two. That gets us to our last one, and the most improved. I kind of pivoted because I think I did something else, but the most improved player thus far, or under the radar. I'm sorry, under the radar. Who's the under the radar player that maybe Cowboys Nation's not talking about is making a huge impact? And this time, Mary, I'll start with you and go the other way.
Ooh, I don't know if people are. I mean, it seems like he's getting a little bit of chatter. But I would say definitely going into this year, people were like, whatever. Is Doris Armstrong? He's been playing very well, special teams, and when he's on the D line. And, coming into this year, a lot of fans were like, oh, we could have had Gregory. Oh, he's not a good, Doris Armstrong, not a good replacement type of thing. And really had no faith in keeping him. But it's worked out so far. And he's taken that next step, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Spoony, who's your under the radar guy right now?
I'm Zach Martin, easily. I'm only playing.
Oh, I was
I'm only playing. I'm only playing.
Yo, Spoony's had jokes tonight. Spoony's had jokes tonight. He came out ready to give his first 6 minutes to end the show and give the prediction. Now under the radar, Zach Martin.
We were like, wait, what?
I thought he didn't understand the question.
Listen, by all means, the man who said when he got drafted out of Kentucky, I am the wall. Ain't gonna be nothing to run through. Big Bo Hannah. Listen, the guy's been a force so far. He's a big impact in the interior right there, freeing up some guys to do what they need to do. I have to give it to Big Bo.
Okay. All right, Spoony. Big Bo for you, not Zach Martin. Good call. Professor O, for you, who's the under the radar guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Zach Martin. Kidding. So Spoony took my guy. I was gonna go with Bohanna, but what he's done, I mean, no, I'm picking somebody else. I'm gonna go another route. I agree. He was brought up earlier. TC915 said it. Malik Hooker. So Malik Hooker has not had that big impact moment. He hasn't had the pick 6 or the interception or anything like that. But we're not giving up the deep ball. Our safety's coming up and stopping the run.
Yeah.
He's playing single high safety, so we're not having to drop back and play cover 4. He's doing exactly what his job is, and he's going unnoticed. And that's exactly what you want your free safety to do. You don't want this guy to have 100 tackles. You don't want him to constantly be chasing plays and trying to make things. Like, his athleticism and range is significantly underrated right now. And it's easy to go with Donovan because Dono's been awesome. It's easy to go with Micah Parsons or Diggs or some of these guys because they flash constantly. But guys like Bohanna and Malik Hooker, you have to actually watch and pay attention to them to appreciate what they do. So I want to give him a shout out because Spoony gave Bohanna a moment, and that was much deserved. And Mary brought up Doris Armstrong, who is, I don't even want to say second fiddle. He's probably third fiddle in the pecking order for fans when they're looking at edge rushers, because you look at Demarcus Lawrence and you look at Micah Parsons and you kind of forget Dorrance has 3 sacks and would have had 4 had there not been an illegal contact that took 1 off the board for him. So he's been phenomenal. So all of those guys deserve the accolades and highlights so far through the season. So I'm going to tip my cap to Malik Hooker.
Yeah, Malik Hooker's definitely one of my guys for sure. And also greened out the last 2 weeks as well, right? And handling all the communication and getting everybody in order. Just a little extra seasoning there on top for what Hooker's been doing for so far this year. Man, I'm almost swing over to the offensive side, man. I'm gonna go with Tabiadish. He's played far above what I expected from him. He's actually calling the offensive line protections, which was one of the big things for me in the offseason. Y'all know that I talked about. I'm like, look, if you're the center, I don't need my right guard calling the protections. I need my center to call the protections. I need you to clean the snaps up because they were a little last year, and he's done both.
Yep.
We heard and we were all excited, or I will speak for me. I was excited, like when they were talking during the draft, and it's going to be an open competition at center in training camp. And then we got to training camp. It's like, is this really an open competition? It doesn't really seem like an open competition. But for good purposes, because he has been nothing short of a rock and being an anchor right there in the middle so far this year, taking that step forward in the third year. And sometimes I need to take my own advice, as I always talk about young players. And I talked about it with the Parsons and how he could be better, and Diggs and Lamb and stuff. You know, I didn't highlight Tyler Biadasz enough. That's my faux pas, because early in the season last year, y'all heard me and O talk, like after game 1, he was out. Then about game 2 or 3, it's like, yeah, nah. Then I was like, well, actually around about week 9, 10 is kind of happening. And then there was just moments. But the same thing with him is he was going into year 3. And he also had the opportunity to improve and do those things, because typically your young players don't hit their ceiling till year 4-ish, basically. And he has definitely put in the work. He worked with Big Duke as well this offseason, and it definitely shows. And that's been a big key here with the different injuries across the line, because we saw injuries around him last year and it didn't go well. But now with Connor McGovern injury going on, it was Farniok. And then, okay, you feel pretty good about Peters, don't get it twisted. But you have a rookie during all preseason. Now the rookie's at left tackle. So some of the solidifying things, I believe, when you talk about the offensive line, is you got to be good in the anchor in the middle. Obviously, left tackle matters. We get that. But what he's been able to do this year so far, as I said through the first quarter, definitely an under-the-radar guy who got killed a lot last year for some penalties, for some bad snaps, for not calling the protections. He just cleaned a lot of that up. So that's who I would give it to for my under-the-radar guy.
Let that be a lesson to all of us, too, to remind ourselves that our own assessment and self-scouting of players doesn't always – there's going to be guys inevitably that we're right on. And then there's going to be times where you're wrong. Like, the consensus with the fan base was Matt Farniok is this trending player. There was a lot of talk this offseason of he should start or McGovern should start over Biadasz. Right. And now we see Farniok in action. We're like, maybe we need to dial it back and get a little bit. He's a young guy. He's not quite ready yet. And then kind of the same way with the conversation of defensive tackle, it was Ridgeway's the new draft pick. He's the exciting guy. See you, Bo. You're out. You weren't great last year. You're gone. And now we see Bo in action with development, a little bit more time to work with Aiden and work with DQ, and then suddenly he looks like a transformed player. So sometimes we just need to be patient. I know that's hard as fans. I fall victim to the exact same thing I'm telling you guys now, where I want to rush players off the field, out of the building. And sometimes a little bit of patience pays off, and then sometimes you're like, no, we held on too long. This was a mistake by the organization. And it goes both ways. So I think it's good that we do segments like this where we're being fair and acknowledging when we were a little bit too rash to view somebody, or maybe our assessment at the time was right, but we need to tip our cap to the players for developing and being a different player now than they were last year.
Yeah, big facts. Although I'm going to say I was always on the Big Bo train, just letting everybody know. I'd see this now. But also my spirit animal, I loved him too, but now he's dead to me. He's in Washington, so neither here nor there. That'll wrap it up. And what we are going to do, we're going to do this every quarter of the season. So after we get through the next 4 games, we're going to come back here. We're definitely going to run this segment again, and we'll see what changes and who's different, or is anything different. Yeah. And so you can look forward to that after every 4 games. And week 16 will be the last, or the 16th game, I should say, when we do it, we have 1 game left. So then we'll get to some for the year kind of stuff. So fun times. It'll be interesting to see how this thing, moves around and percolates, and who goes up and who goes down. And we might be coming back on here to talk to somebody else. I can't believe you picked him. Nah, I'm just joking. I can't believe this when you picked Zach Martin as the under radar guy. I can't believe it. How could he miss on that? But that does take us into now to SoFi, going on the road, going as Mary's, and going back to Cali. And at times in SoFi can kind of be home away from home for us. The Oxnard presence out there with Cowboys Nation. They like
not for the refs though.
No, well, yeah, we'll touch on that.
They don't teach us they don't make us feel like we're at home.
No, they don't. But could have a pretty good, if you look at the same stadium last year when we went and played the Chargers, we filled it up pretty well. So it's an opportunity for us to do that again. But let's kind of get into this matchup, guys. Obviously, Monday night, a little ugly for them. They did not play well enough against the Niners. Lots of things were going on for them with pressure. And the one thing I find very intriguing, the 2 teams that we played the past 2 weeks, they have the similar issues from guard to guard, center, guard. They have a lot of injuries. They had their starting guard moving over to center. Now he got hurt Monday night. So he's out 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained ankle. So they're playing a couple of undrafted guys in the middle here moving forward. So what we've seen from this defense be able to take advantage of some lackluster interior offensive lines of Washington and the Giants. Here we are again. And we might see some of the same kind of things, which I think kind of pivots what the Rams might want to get into. With that being said, Mary, where are you at? Do you think that's where the Cowboys are looking at this thing? What are you seeing? What are you feeling gut so far as you're just kind of getting into this week and really focusing on the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, when they, had a terrible offensive performance week 1, kind of just looked at it as, a little, Super Bowl hangover. Like, they have weapons and, how much could have changed from then to now for them to be so bad. I mean, they looked horrible. But I don't think anybody thought that it was going to be a trend to the 4th game of the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's their main weapon is Cooper Kupp, and they can't stop anyone from getting sacks. And I think it's a good opportunity for the Cowboys defense to continue to prove themselves, to continue to show that, we can shut down these good wide receivers. We can shut down these, Super Bowl contenders. And, Matt Stafford, on top of everything else, hasn't been good. I mean, he had several, I think he led the league in interceptions last season.
Right.
And he's been bad. He's, even when he targets Cooper Kupp, he's had some issues. So, I mean, it's odd to see them continue to have these issues throughout the season, but I think it's definitely something we can take advantage of.
Spoonie, as we're pivoting over here and looking at this Rams team, where's your gut at? What are you feeling? What are you seeing? Where are you at right now with it?
Rams want to win. They got embarrassed last week against the 49ers, so this is a pissed off team coming in to this game. They're gonna, again, this is a team that won the Super Bowl last season, but at the same time, they don't have the same personnel on the offensive side like last year. They don't have Odell Beckham Jr. They don't have Robert Woods no more. I forgot Van Jefferson out right now, nursing an injury. So the same way the Cowboys had to adjust with their situation is the same thing where the Rams do, especially at the offensive line. They have the third stringers, I think, guard and center. So, we're gonna have to come in here and take advantage of their weaknesses. The same way they're gonna try to do the same thing with ours, but at the same time, I like the favorable matchup with our defense versus their offense. And I really do think that if our defense somehow, like you said in the space, BJ, could get like a pick 6 or just give us some short fields, just like special teams can, I think we could really win this game.
As you've been transitioning and going through some tape and looking at some things, what's sticking out to you so far about this matchup?
So they're not attacking vertically at all, and specifically the middle of the field. Like your safeties, what they've shown on film, I watched 3 games so far. I watched the Falcons, Cardinals, and the 49ers game. 3 straight weeks, like they're not throwing the ball in the middle of the field unless it's just like a curl route, a dig, basic pass patterns. They're not really attacking at all in the middle of the field. Everything's outside, and it's a lot of really quick short passes. Stafford, as you can see on the film, is under duress pretty much constantly from all over the offensive line. It's not just that they have a single mouse in the house, that the tackle is struggling or the center. It's all 5 guys are struggling. They have Havenstein is really their biggest name player, but even he's struggling. So on the offensive side of the ball, I think this would probably surprise a lot of you guys. They rank below the Cowboys in yards per game offensively. This is the Rams. This is
That
Sean
really doesn't
McVay.
surprise me, actually, because
It
we've seen them. Like I said, it's they haven't really been good at all this season on offense.
Yeah, so they're just not that consistency. And then when there are plays that are schemed up well, because of Stafford being under duress, he's either not going through his reads and progressions, or he's just having to get rid of the football because, you're going to see there's a lot of 4-man rushes where he has 2 or 3 guys in the backfield, and that play just dumped the ball off quickly. So their offense doesn't really scare me too much. And then on the defensive side of the ball, which you'll see later on as we talk about this, they really are struggling against tight ends this year. Like, big time. There's a lot of opportunities. If you go back and look at Pitts when the Falcons game, or you watch Ertz or any of the running backs out of the backfield, they're really not doing a great job of stopping those guys. They have been a really good run stopping defense. I think they're 6th overall in run defense, but they're like 20th against the pass. So they are susceptible to being beaten. So while this is the Super Bowl contender, you have to give them the respect that's deserved when you've won a Super Bowl, especially when they're playing at home. This game does not look nearly as scary as it did preseason when we're circling, looking through the schedule and predicting our wins and losses. This is that tough game, and even with Dak healthy and even with Tyron Smith healthy, it's going to be, a big challenge. It's very much so a winnable game. Now the Cowboys still have to come to play, and maybe this is the week the Rams get in sync in offense. But you're going to see a lot as we watch the film of wide receivers going in motion. They do a ton of pre-snap motion still. A lot of times the receivers are going in motion and are not getting the ball. They're more so decoys and distractions. But they do that so often that when you start seeing that tendency, it's easy for the defense to fall asleep on that player and say, oh, that's just a distraction. They're just setting something up, and they may go back to it. But you'll see a lot of screen passes, a lot of hitches, a lot of curl routes, shallow crossing, and just quick hitters, because that's what they have right now.
Yeah, it's and it's weird because, when I went over there and shout out to Downtown Rams and had me host and co-host, and we kind of went through this game last night. If y'all didn't get a chance to check that out over there on Twitter, they have it up. It's up on my Twitter page, and it's on theirs as well. One of the things that they were talking about is Sean McVay being, this is going to sound familiar here to the Cowboys, being very hard-headed in what he likes to do offensively, regardless of circumstances. Sound familiar around here, ladies and gentlemen? But for me, the thing that causes me pause here is if he's going to look at this game objectively and the issues that they have, because it's nothing short of catastrophic in their center guard right now. This is like picking Nick Martin up off the street and how Washington had to do to get there. So if he's looking at this Cowboys team and what we've talked about with Bo limited, we got to see if he's going to play. What were the Washington Commanders able to do running the ball in that first half? And then kind of going back to how did Barkley get a big one, go back to the Bucks with the big runs. They might have to get into more of a 12 personnel package here. And they haven't been able to get their run game going at all this year. Could be offensive line, obviously, with the issues, but they might to really get in the foxhole here, the Rams, and say, look, we're not going to be able to block them and give Stafford time. So we have to look at them. What's their Achilles? And the Achilles thus far for the Cowboys at times has been the run. So to me, I think very early on, when we look at that, as we call the script, right, the first 15 to 20 plays, there's going to be a lot of run action in there and play action. I really, really do. I think that's how they're going to try to attack the Cowboys and see if they can get home on that, because the one thing about the Cowboys, even at times we look better than the past two teams, offensively is just not exploded, right? And the big thing for us, Spoon, that we talked about is you could go, like, currently what we understand is Cooper Rush in this offense can go down one score. If you go down 2 scores, then it gets a little spooky for the Cowboys at that point, because I don't believe that the offense is built with Cooper Rush to have that shock back ability and do things, because they're leaning heavy on the defense. They're leaning heavy on the special teams. So I think at first glance here going into this game in SoFi is that I just think they're going to really try to establish the run early, just because of the issues they have here in between the tackles. And back to your point too, Whitworth's gone. It's not like the tackles have been phenomenal here, and that's just, well, that's okay. It's a 5-man problem is the way to put it. So what are you going to do? And one of the key things I saw, now Downtown Rams and I got Tom said, there's nothing on the injury report about Stafford and maybe an ankle or anything, but I noticed in the Monday night game there towards the end, he didn't have to leave the field or nothing, but there was a little hitch in his step. There was a little hitch in his step for a guy who's, plus side of 30, a little bit older. He's been banged up a lot. He took a lot of hits here, as y'all are seeing through the tape here against the Niners and the constant duress. They have to start taking that into consideration. So for me, I think it's going to be run heavy out the gate early, guys.
Oh, I definitely do. Yeah.
There's some concern with his arm too. So later in the game, he took a big hit in the 49ers game. And not only was he kind of limping a little bit, but after plays, you started seeing him working his arm out, trying to loosen it up. And then this week, he actually missed practice or was limited because of an arm injury. So not sure if that's elbow, shoulder, bicep, what it is. I'm sure he's going to play. He's a tough guy, but that's something to keep an eye on too. The hits have taken their toll on him so far.
Right. And with that being said, how do you help limit that? How do you help a struggling offensive line? You get more bodies out there that can go out there and block, and you run the ball and try to attack a team who for a fact, like he has to understand, if we try to drop back and throw this thing, the Cowboys are getting home. Like that's been established now through 4 games. They're getting home. So they have to find ways to limit. Not obviously it's not going to be 90 runs and 2 passes. We understand that. But I think early on they have to kind of set that tempo, quick pass game, some screen passes, definitely out of his hand quick. I think that if you go back to the first half of the Washington game, I think they're going to try to mimic that in a lot of ways, in my opinion, is where we are currently. And flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, guys, the one thing about this defense as well, they're not getting pass rush right now. And that was kind of the big thing for them last year. They got a ton of pass rush. And obviously Aaron Donald can wreck your game. Everybody in here knows, Aaron Donald can come wreck your game. But from a pass rushing standpoint, Leonard's been a little nicked out. Lloyd's been a little nicked up. Has to come around. Wagner's kind of, we saw he's playing horrible, but he hasn't quite caught all the way up. Yeah. Right. So where he's been at. And I just need PFF to keep the same energy for Jalen Ramsey as they had for Diggs last year.
Because
neither here nor there.
That's not a peep about him. But one thing to bring up was about, I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter, Bobby Wagner, what he had to say about Cooper Rush.
Oh yeah.
Just because a guy has been good against the blitz so far doesn't mean he'll be good Sunday. And I'm not sure of the exact, if that's correct about how often the Rams blitz, but they're like one of the highest in the league at blitzing. They're like top 10 in blitzing.
Yeah, and they haven't been getting home.
Yeah, they haven't been getting home. So, I guess a little, bulletin board material for Cooper Rush for this offense. But having Gallup back makes me so comfortable. The fact that CeeDee Lamb has, seemed to have, gotten more comfortable, as opposed to his first few games. Knowing that we can get Pollard more involved, I have confidence that we can score more on this defense.
I like the score more, Mary.
Because that's
more. Yeah, let's go. Spoonie, you getting quiet over there? You're muted. You okay?
Nah, because I didn't like Mary repeat what Bobby Wagner said. So I'm just letting you know he made the list.
He
just made the list. That's all I gotta say. He made the list. Outside of what we talked about here. Maybe some keys to the game for you for Sunday.
Yeah, so one thing that happened 3 times in this game against the 49ers, and I've seen in all 3 games, is they're overly aggressive when you show a screen pass. That's like a big commitment of their defense, is they don't want to be beaten on screens. So when teams run screens against them, you'll see 2 and 3 guys, as soon as you show the screen look, immediately jump it. So if you dial back what Kellen Moore did against Tampa Bay week 1 of last year, where you show that screen and you pump fake it and you hit CeeDee Lamb deep, that opportunity is very much so there. And I mentioned it earlier, but they don't do a great job against tight ends. One of their linebackers, his name is Ernest Jones, has been targeted 21 times this year and has given up 17 receptions. That's an 81% completion rate against him. They have another cornerback named Darian Kendrick. He's 14 completions on 23 attempts. So it's about 61% roughly, but he's given up a lot of big plays. Teams are averaging about 15 yards per reception when targeting him. And then there's another guy, you may have heard of him, named Jalen Ramsey. He's given up 10 completions on 16 attempts. 3 of those 10 were touchdowns, and he only has 4 pass breakups for the year. So he's been taken advantage of too. So there's going to be opportunities. They play a lot of cover 3. Sometimes they drop another guy back and do cover 2 and cover 4 looks, but it's a lot of cover 3. So you're going to have opportunities, especially if you throw downfield. Their front 7's still really good. They have some good athletes there. They've been really good against the run. and they have a lot of resources that they commit to stopping the run, but the ability to attack downfield, if the offensive line can hold up, is very much so there against the Rams. You're going to see like comeback routes, things like that, where maybe take a little bit longer than what you would want against a strong front seven, but you're going to have a lot of opportunities coming off of that break where the receiver now has a one-on-one where they can make somebody miss or take that into a big play. Against the 49ers, they had a really hard time stopping slants, post, and comebacks. So basically, if you attack the middle of their field, it was wide open frequently throughout the game. So there's going to be some opportunities where Kellen can attack in the passing game. Running game, things that they had a hard time on is when people did counters or there were crisscross type of blocking concepts against them.
Yeah, I mean, again, to me, it's the same thing. It just screams very similar. Like this game is going to play. It can very well play out from both sides of the ball as it was against the Washington Commanders. There's just a lot of things in there for me that I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense. Except it's on the Rams. except it's the Rams. So, with that being said, let's spin it around, Mary. Who's winning the game?
Well, Des Bryant tweeted about 24 minutes ago that he's dropping 10K again on the boys again. He's ready to smoke a Rams pack. So you know what? I'm gonna go with Des. I'm ready to smoke a Rams pack too, and we're gonna win. I don't want to give a score.
Nah, you were so close. Oh, Mary, you were so close. You gave us up. I was like, oh, Mary's about to give us a score. Go ahead and give us a score, Mary.
I don't want to jinx it.
Okay, all right. Keep it tucked in. Spoonie, what is who wins and what's the score?
Well, before I say my score, I'm going to give you something right here. The Cowboys defense allowed the Buccaneers to score 19 points. Then they allowed the Bengals to score 17 points. They allowed the Giants to score 16 points. They allowed the Commanders to score 10 points. If you understand the countdown, my score for this game is going to be the Dallas Cowboys beating the LA Rams 21-0.
Whoa!
Shut out. And I mean it with a straight face. Michael Parsons bought this out. He bought this out.
Go ahead.
He bought this out. He didn't bring it out for no reason, not for play, not for fun. He's making a statement, and I'm joining that train statement with Michael Parsons. 21-0 shutout.
I mean,
defense 5 in effect.
I mean, that's like me ordering In-N-Out. It's 0. I can't order In-N-Out. That's why I got that Whataburger cup.
Mm-hmm.
0
said Whataburger 21. In-N-Out.
Yeah, 0. Professor, who's winning? What's the score, man?
Well, I can't give my prediction until Mary tells me that the Rams are going to beat the Cowboys, because when she does that, we consistently win. So, Mary, go ahead and do that, please, so I can give my prediction.
That's true.
Okay, you're right.
Though. She said she wanted the pack, though. She jinxed. She only messed it up.
I did say I wanted the Rams.
Not too late, Mary. Take it back.
Okay, I take it back.
All right,
Rams are going to beat us.
Bet. Now that that's out there, in the reverse psychology from Mary, I know I'm a professor, but Mary is a legal professional. She has a JD. She has a so with that said, if Mary says it, then she reverse psychology is going to work. So I'm going to pick the Cowboys because I think that the Rams are very much beatable, and I think it's a team that is kind of trying to find themselves right now. In McVay, great coach, but he's trying to navigate, how do I deal with this offensive line? How do I keep my quarterback healthy? And how do I get a run game going? There's a lot of concerns for them offensively. I'm going to go with Cooper Rush getting his 5th straight win, which is something I never would have expected, I would say. But here we are. So I think we could do it. I think the defense is going to carry us, and it's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game. I'm going to go – are we giving score predictions? I guess we are, because we gave that up. So I'm going to go with a 21-13 game.
Well, I just, timing is everything. I talk about geography lottery at times when it talks about, players and where they end up. But there's also timing is everything. And the timing that we're catching the Rams could not be more advantageous for the Cowboys organization when you look up and down the board. Like, this is a blessing in where they're at currently. I get it. You don't want to blame injuries or do anything else, but those are just the facts. Like, where this team is currently right now, coming off of a short week against a divisional rival. It was definitely physical. They're suffering across the offensive line very badly, and what the Cowboys are in this year of 2022 just doesn't bode well for them. On downtown
Rams, is a
Rams,
big thing. Great point.
it is that part. At downtown Rams, I had the Cowboys winning 20-17. Is what my score was, 20-17. But as we've went through this show, and and it's our first time we've actually, even in the back channels, we haven't talked a bunch about this game yet, and we all kind of went through what we were talking about and everything else. I don't think there's a way the Rams score 17. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, unless the run game gets off for them, because outside of Cooper Kupp, and you kind of break that. Look, and they designed great things for him. Are they going to have time to get to that with the Cowboys pass rush? I don't know. To me, it comes down to simply if they're able to run the ball, then it becomes the issue for the Cowboys. I think that's the only way the Rams really have it out. They haven't been able to run the ball yet this year, but if they're able to, it becomes an issue. I had it 2017, but as we've talked and we're going back and I'm watching the tape again, and I'm just like, I don't see how this scores 17, but I'm going to stick to it because this offense at times leaves some yards and different things on the field. And the ultimate X factor is, what Kellen Moore am I going to get? Am I getting Bengals Kellen Moore, or am I going to get Washington Kellen Moore? And that's what bothers me. So, boy, I don't know how to get 17, but I'm going to stick to 20-17, and the Cowboys defense is going to score a touchdown.
Can I do a prediction since you gave one?
Sure.
So something I saw on film, again, all 3 games this happened. A lot of times when you are punting the ball to them, there's safety in the punt formation. Really, it's more like, think of somebody lined up as a linebacker. But basically that guy's job is to make sure that there's not a fake, watch the punt, and then drop back. A lot of times there's just one person doing that. And a lot of times on the outside, some teams do 2 gunners, they just do 1. I'm calling my shot now. We are going to fake punt against the Rams. It's gonna happen. This is Bones Fossil's former team.
Yeah.
And it's set up beautifully. Like I'm calling my shot. We haven't done it yet this year.
Yeah, that
big
makes
point
sense.
is coming this week. Watch it. Mark it down.
Because we haven't done it, and we did it a lot last season. So
plus, you have a defense that's balling out against an offense you're not going to be that scared of this week. Like this would be the perfect week to do a fake punt.
Yeah.
Okay. New long snapper. Maybe lull him to sleep. Oh, it's a new long snapper. Not gonna get too tricky. And then boom. Okay, I like it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that time. If y'all missed it last week, you know why you're here right now. I have no clue where this is going whatsoever. I know Spoon. I told Spoon in the space. I think the reason we beat the dadgum Washington Commanders because somebody played him his dadgum sermon last week because that thing was fire. I don't know if I might need to get some music ready over here. So I don't even know what I need to get ready. But Spoonie,
yes, sir.
It is now time for the Spoonie sermon.
In life, as we got older, we experienced upgrades. We've seen beepers that got upgraded to cell phones. Nintendo got upgraded to Super Nintendo. NWO got upgraded to CFO, led by Jay Tuck. Mel Kiper, Tom McShay, NFL Draft, got upgraded to Dom the Deacon and Mendoza. Cole Pizza got upgraded to Pick 6 Sports. Understand this, y'all. The media, y'all understand this as well. Because come Sunday, we're going to witness another upgrade, a new upgrade. An upgrade that has been talked about for days, months, and is here now. And I say this respectfully to those players, to those individuals. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, y'all will be upgraded to Michael Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. Understand that. Data upgrades, y'all the has-beens. Y'all yesterday, data today.
Ooh.
The Dallas Cowboys are the now, the Rams are yesterday.
Oh.
Understand that. What I'm talking about. Upgrades. That will be the one upgrade that will take the NFL by storm. They are the new dynamic duo. You can call them Batman and Robin. You can call them Superman and Mr. Martian Manhunter. Call them whatever you want to call it. That is the new dynamic duo. Michael Parsons will eat your ass up on that line while Trayvon Diggs steals, takes whatever he wants. That's his. And I said this respectfully to Ramsey and Donald. Make no mistake about it. Y'all Hall of Famers. Y'all celebrated y'all championship. I give you that. 100%. Y'all yesterday. 7-Eleven is today. And let me explain something about 7-Eleven. We understand how we love to go shopping, buy that cold soda, buy that the fried tacos in that 7-Eleven store. But the 7-Eleven that I'm talking about is the one that they deliver. Deliver violence, deliver terror, deliver any motherfucking thing that you don't want to see in all of sports. And this Sunday, be ready for the upgrade for the 7-Eleven show to take over with a W, and then we go on to Philadelphia.
And Whataburger is better than In-N-Out.
That part. We got beef on multiple levels on the field and in our burgers. We got
Full
beef
circle
over
on
here.
Pick Six Sports. Spody, you missed your calling, man. You would have been the perfect Worldwide Wrestling Federation promo guy. You would have been perfect for it. Like,
thank you.
That was amazing.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it, y'all. Hey, man, y'all know the drill is, man. Each and every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Central, we're right here rocking with y'all. Friday, 8:30 p.m. Central as well. We're delivering the Freestyle Friday show. Probably got some guests coming through from the Rams. Got some enemies invading like we did last week with Washington. So make sure you come through and tune in and rock with us. As always, man, it's free 99. We appreciate y'all being the family coming in here, being subbed up and whatnot. Make sure you go out there, free 99 as we're on our march to 2K. Before the end of this year, right? We're going to get to 2K subs before the end of this season. We've already accomplished, I think, our first 100. I think I have to go and look. I know we're close to 1,100 now. So, we hit 1,000 not that long ago. We've added another 100. We're trying to steamroll this thing forward and keep delivering this content for y'all. And I mean, I don't know, for every 100 people that we keep getting, man, Spoons, I don't know what we're going to do here pretty soon with Spoon, this daggum sermon. Mary, hopefully the stitches out. You're good. Come Sunday, you're clear.
Yeah.
Also, programming Friday, I'm here. Next week, we'll see. I got to make a trip to Florida. Got to take care of some family biz. But don't worry.
You already know what that means. Soundboard
The
Friday.
soundboard. Yeah, the soundboard's going to be back in the building. Good luck, guys. Professor O is going to be the man professor on the soundboard. There's not much that I can do about that when I don't play. But you're in good hands, though. Either way, you're in good hands. We appreciate y'all as always, man. Have a great rest of your week.
Real quick. I want to give a shout out to somebody. So our mod extraordinaire, you guys see him in the chat, Mendoza. Go follow this man on Twitter, please. He's part of the Pick Six family, not only as a wrench mod, does a great job there, but every week he has 2 prospects. Every Wednesday he's dropping 2 prospects that you should pay attention to as this draft season comes out. So you don't have to worry about, not saying you shouldn't buy the guides. There's a lot of great resources out there, but you could be ahead of the curve. Knowing about these players, he's picking linebackers, running backs, defensive ends, offensive tackles, all that stuff. His Twitter handle is ohmyword88. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. Definitely go follow him because he's dropping these every week for you guys.
Yeah, and we're going to get him to change his though. Eventually, but neither here nor there. Yeah, there it is. It's right there in the chat, right there. Shout out to him. Definitely putting out some good fire draft. The lunatic Blade. I used to say goodnight. He tried to him with came right in. Look at there. Shout out to our guy Lunatic, who gave away a couple of hats. Actually, Sam was talking about appreciated the fire hat earlier. If he wasn't here, Lunatic.
He did, yeah. He thanked you.
So he definitely gave you the tip of the cap. He said for the fire lid. So with that being said, guys, we'll get up out of here. Y'all be safe, and we'll catch y'all Friday. Go Cowboys.